vehicle right in front of me today is what you get when you combine EV speed with the utmost luxury. This is the 2024 Genesis GV70 Electrified. Now this is a vehicle that I featured on the channel just 8 months ago, so last year in 2023. So we'll go over if there is any changes at all and if my opinion is still the same. I'm going to give you a full tour and then we're going to take it on a POV drive. Let's take a closer look. All right, so first we're going to start off with the front of the Genesis GV70. It really looks good in this gray metallic color here. Looks fantastic in the sun as well. I've got really nice daytime running LEDs up front. I have a front-facing camera as well as all the parking sensors you need because we do have a 360-degree camera system as well as the parking sensors to go with it, so that's fantastic. We do also get a front trunk right under here, very easy to open, but there's no key fob access. There's no, I can't press this Genesis button right here and open it, but you can access it from the inside of the vehicle and you can put a little bit of things in there that you can't. There's not a lot of room for stuff inside your frunk of your GV70, but it does exist and it is an extra storage part, so you really can't hate on it. Now you'll notice that this GV70 Electrified doesn't look that much different from the regular gas-powered GV70. And of course, that is by design because, they really just took what they had with the gas version and popped an electric battery into it, and it's fantastic. So you can see the grille is heavily modified here. We just have a front-facing camera that sticks out, and on the bottom we do have some grills for the battery cooling, of course, and this also hides away our front charge port. Very convenient place. It's not an automatic open-close system. You have to use your hands for it, but it's still very nice. Now let me tell you about what is powering this Genesis GV70. We have a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery that's good for around 383 kilometers of range on a full charge. Now, some people will find that on the low end of things, and I tend to have to agree. The competition is getting more and more range added to their battery, and yet another year where Genesis has kind of kept things the same and not really given us any more range or anything like that. Key changes for 2024 include a little bit more paint colors as well as a Wi-Fi hotspot coming standard across the board, and that's about where it ends. But of course, this is all-wheel drive. It has 2 electric motors. I believe it's 160 kilowatt in the front, 160 kilowatt in the back, so you do get quite a bit of speed with your luxury, which is very nice. We have 429 horsepower, but if you press the boost button on your steering wheel, you're going to boost that up all the way to 483 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. All right, so as promised, we'll continue looking at the outside of the vehicle. First here we have the side profile for the Genesis GV70. Again, looks exactly like the gas-powered version. I think the side profile, you really do get a sense of just how little they've changed versus the gas-powered version, which is, again, not a bad thing. We do have very nice Genesis white brakes with these really nice rims and tires. I like them a lot. I've got nice turn signal LEDs, and also we have a camera right underneath the mirror right here. Keyless entry, of course, works very nicely with the power folding mirrors. Looks fantastic when it is parked. You can see we do have a little bit of the roof rails there. I do like the chrome accents. Works very well with this silver painting here. I like it a lot. And then last but of course not least, we have the rear for the Genesis GV70. I think these rear LED lights look pretty good, look pretty modern. There's really no reason to change it here for 2024. It's kind of the Genesis staple at this point when it comes to the GV70, so hard to complain about that. The only thing that I would pick at is, I get that there's the trunk button here, but I would have loved to see the wiper get hidden under the spoiler here as well. There's a light bar right here, speaking of the spoiler, and then you've got your camera right underneath there. Of course, you have all your parking sensors as well. Speaking of trunk space, let's actually press that button. Of course, it's an automatic tailgate, so we like that as well. I have my charger out and exposed, but you can see that I have a bunch of room here in the trunk. You can also fold the seats down. There is some onboard power here and back in case you do need to charge something back here. There is also a little bit of storage here underneath the floor. You can see it also comes with this right here, the little privacy screen that you can actually install right here, and then you can pull that out and have no problem. So let's close the trunk and let's hop into the interior. Let's check out. I'm going to show you the back and then I'm going to show you the front, and then we're gonna take it on a test drive. Let's go. All right, so as usual, we're gonna start off with the rear here for the Genesis GV70. Open up the door. We're greeted by the same thing we saw last year, the white interior with like this black trim above it. Looks absolutely fantastic here for the passenger door, for the rear passenger door. And then we also get these sunshades, should you need them, to block out the people that are less fortunate than you. That is very nice. Then we have the white seats, all white interior. It's probably the thing that's gonna stand out the most to you. It is to me, and I think it looks pretty good, although it is going to bother me to try to keep clean if I were to own one of these. And we have these really nice stitch patterns on the seats as well. I do think they're very nice. Looks fantastic back here as well at nighttime. Same thing for the front. So let's actually hop in here. Let's see how I fit. So I'm sitting behind my driver profile. It is a little tight, but we're not too bad there. I can, I've got plenty of room. It's kind of got like these knee cutouts, so I'm not pushing too much against the driver's seat because this is a solid thing. I like the suede material here on the roof. I've got an excellent panoramic sunroof, can't complain there. I do have some HVAC controls. I've got 3 levels of heated seats, and I've got an automatic climate for back here. So this actually has 3 zones of automatic climate control. And then I can also move the passenger seat front and back. Right now there's a baby seat here, which by the way fits fantastic. She likes it, no problem. But if I did have a passenger here, they could move this seat out and get even more legroom right there. There's a little hump from a tunnel right here, but it's really, really muted. And then also underneath it, I have 2 USB-A. No USB-C yet as well for the 2024 Genesis GV70, which is interesting. And then I also have this guy that's going to fold down here for your cup holders. Nothing to complain about there. We like that as well. And then you have like these little hooks back here should you need like your suit or whatever, because you're probably a fancy human if you're driving one of these. Let's check out what it's got up front in the business end. Let's check out the front seats. All right, next up we hop into the front seat where again we're greeted with a very nice looking white interior. I have 2 memory seat settings as well as all my door controls are right here. I've got the Lexicon sound system right there as well. And then I'll take a look quickly at the adjustable seating. So I can adjust different parts of the seats with this button, and I can also adjust all my lumbar. And this button right here is for my massage chair. Fantastic to have that as well. Now let's hop into here. Much easier to get into the front seat than it is the back seat for myself. So once we're sitting in the Genesis GV70, you get a really fantastic view of this really nice white interior. It's just fantastic. Gonna be hard to keep clean. Completely white steering wheel as well, which really does stand out for the most from other electric vehicles that I've driven. I really like it, so let's start with it. Fun button right here, boost button, unlocks all the horsepower that this vehicle can give you, so that's nice. I've got my paddles for regenerative braking. It does have iPedal, so that means 1-pedal driving is available here. Then I've got my media controls. They feel nice and premium. All the switches on here are very good. And then also you have your lane centering assist, you have your lane keep cruise control, adaptive cruise control settings, all are right there at your fingertips, as well as the ability to control some of this digital infotainment display right here. So I have some settings that I can go through, like I have, I can choose the route, and then I can, see where the power is coming from, drive info, stuff like that. I can also set it to 3D. This kind of does bother my eyes a little bit. It didn't last time, but for some reason this time it is. Maybe it's something with the brightness. But yeah, it's a little bit on the annoying side, so I kind of tend to turn that off. But it's definitely a cool feature to have. And I love the speed at which, you can see I'm switching drive modes. It switches the theme for the gauge cluster so quickly. It's so fantastic. You can see I have a sport, comfort, eco, and then also a my mode, where you can kind of customize the steering, suspension, and all that stuff. So fantastic. Look how cool sport mode looks. That looks really fun. But usually I drive in comfort because you're not really racing in this thing. Then we'll move over to the left-hand side. I've got my illumination controls, traction control off, which I won't be doing. I also have a little control right here, which you can see better now for the steering wheel. It's like automatic, or it's not automatic, it's powered. So that's very nice, easy to adjust. Then we'll move over to our digital infotainment display, wired Apple CarPlay and wired Android only as well. Again, they had an opportunity to potentially add that for 2024 and they did not do it. So keep that in mind. You've got to have it. And it's also wired via USB-A. No USB-C yet, but we do get a wireless charger, which is nice. So speaking of the infotainment display though, it is one of the best in the business. It's thin enough that it doesn't block your view, and it's nice and wide, nice and high resolution. I can set up everything from here. It is a touchscreen, although I can control it with this, and I do usually control it with this. This can be a touchpad, like you can swipe to change different things, and then you can kind of tap it to get into stuff. And there you go. There's a nice view of our climate control screen, which is fantastic. I'll talk more about that in a second, but it's very, very good. So they've kind of done everything. I can touch the screen if I want. I can use the scroll wheel, and I can use a touchpad. 3-in-1. Love it. Other manufacturers need to copy that. This is very nice. So anyways, I have built-in navigation. I have an EV thing where I can, schedule charging, check my battery, see where the nearest things are, and so on and so forth. So it's fantastically set up for that. Looks good. I can set up I can change my ambient lighting modes. I can play with my seat. I can control the passenger seat from here. Stuff like that is all right here and built in. Fantastic. We like it a lot. Then if we move a little bit lower, we have another screen for our HVAC controls. So usually I don't play with this too much because I will normally leave it on auto and, forget about it. So it's fine, but the times I have to, it is a little small. I kind of have to go with precision, and it's hard to do when you're driving, but it's not a terrible thing, especially if you have it in auto. You're really not going to notice it that much. But dual zone automatic climate control, of course. I do like the screen. I like the little graphic on it. Looks really good. I like these quick access buttons as well. If you don't want to touch the screen, you kind of have these media stuff that you can use. I like that. This is where we're going to change our drive mode as well as activate our 360-degree camera. You can see right here, it's a very high quality render of the vehicle. I like it. I can kind of push that in. I can kind of, first of all, go to the wrong place. So I can push this in and then kind of get a 360 tour of my vehicle to make sure that everything's good when you're parking. Very good to have. So like I said, we got this scroll wheel. I've got this guy for my shifter. Auto brake hold button is right there. A little bit of storage there. Very nice, very usable. I like it. That is where you're going to see the ambient lighting come from. The ambient lighting in here looks so fantastic. I'll include a couple of shots in it as I'm talking about it. You can change the color. It's just one of the best in the business, if not the best I've ever seen so far on any electric vehicle. Really, really good job. Whoever designed that deserves a raise. Then we look at the seats as well. Very nice seats. Very, very comfortable. I've got a massage seat in the chair that I'm sitting in. Unfortunately, my passenger doesn't. And I know that my passenger normally would like to use one. So if Genesis could include one of those for the 2025 model, that would be awesome. But so far, like I said, it's been pretty much the same as last year. So let's actually get it on the road. We'll talk a little bit about it again. And I basically get to spend, this is my second week with it. So we'll talk about that. 3, 2, 1, give it a sync. Let's go. Alrighty. Get this going here. Alrighty, so now we are on the road with the Genesis GV70 Electrified, and it is, I've been driving this for almost about a week. We were missing a couple of days to become a week, but still close enough. And I can tell you already, this is such a luxurious car, such an easy car to drive. Now, I do have regenerative braking on, but I don't have iPedal on, so you can see when I do let off the accelerator a little bit, I will actually coast a little bit. Also, you might be able to hear I have the propulsion sounds on. I have the one that sounds like a car because I think that's kind of interesting. It is still it does sound actually kind of good. I might actually turn it up maybe a little bit later if I remember. But I'm going to turn my iPedal on so that I can drive this thing like you would a golf cart. Super interesting. Let's listen to these noises quick. It sounds cool in lower speed, but you can't really hear it too much in the high speed. But it sounds cool. It reminds me of the Ioniq 5N that's coming out slowly here. And it reminds me of that little thing that it could make those little noises. That's quite interesting. And I don't actually hate it. Usually I turn them off in EVs, but I actually like this one. All right, so like I showed you, I have some sport modes, and I also have this really fun button right here that's called a boost button. So let me press it, and let's go. Oh my God, that's terrifying. Oh my God. Okay, I need to breathe. Oh boy. Whoa. I saw the sky for a second there. Okay. I think I saw my life flash before my eyes. Oh my God. That was so fast. And I had a little bit of wheel spin. That thing, I absolutely just took off right there. Yeah. So it's extremely comfortable, and it can also rip your neck out. It's kind of nuts. That's really fun to do. Whoa. That feeling, haven't felt that feeling in a while, because I had the EV9, right? And then that thing was fast, but not nearly as fast as this because the EV9 was heavy. Now, the Genesis GV70 is also quite heavy, but it is still unbelievably quick. It's also got a lot less weight. So we go from 0 to 60, like I think it's like something like 4 seconds, less than that maybe, like something ridiculous. And it just keeps giving you power when you use that boost mode. I think I have something like 60% battery, not 60%, I'm pretty sure I'm up at the 89% of battery. It doesn't show me here in my gauge cluster, but my battery is quite high, so that's also very nice. Handling is also quite good. Like I can kind of slow down a little bit here and give it some beams into the corner. And it's so fun. It's actually fun to drive sport, like in like a sporty mode or like a sporty way with the one pedal driving, because the second you let go of the accelerator, you don't have to touch the gas. The car already starts braking for you. So that's really good. In sport mode, the steering is very, very stiff. But the one thing is cool is like when I'm done with my sport mode, I can turn it back into my mode, or I can put it into comfort. And that's kind of the mode that I've been driving in this week, because this, although it does have the speed and the fun and it's, you know, it's good to drive and all that stuff, the main thing I think with the Genesis and the main market they're going after is the comfort market. They just want people to be comfortable and to have their electric vehicle at the same time with a wonderful white interior. And I think that's kind of the people that they go after. You're not really like trying to break people's necks in this, although you can. You're really driving this for comfort. You're wafting over potholes and just like enjoying the, you know, the ride, not so much the driving experience, if that makes sense. Now I do have lane centering assist, but it's basically autopilot. I don't have to do much. You can see I'm coming up to this corner. You're not supposed to do this, but it's just to show you that, check that out. See that? It reads the lines perfectly, and you can do that. So going on a long road trip with adaptive cruise control on, you can almost do it. See, now it's starting to yell at me to put my hands on the steering wheel. It will do that, but you can get away from it. You know, it is a pretty cool system. It's one of the best in the game. Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis all have the same kind of system behind them, so that actually sounds fantastic. Now, there is something I wanted to do. Let's change it to largest change. I really want to hear this engine noise. It sounds kind of cool. Hopefully it's picking it up on the camera. That was a motorcycle. It sounds kind of awesome. What the heck? Ooh, Cadillac Lyric. Nice. You know what? I dig that sound. I'm probably going to keep that on. I don't mind that at all. That's okay. All right. I haven't played with this sound at all. So there you go. Really cool. Don't mind that at all. If I change the drive modes, does it mess around? Maybe it gets a little louder. Yeah, maybe a little bit. That's cool. Now let's talk about how good the visibility in the Genesis GV70 is. Like, I have such good visibility. Like, my windshield comes down so well, so low. I feel like I could see everything around me. Also, the fact that we have, like, you know, I'll show you in a second because I'm about to turn. Actually, I can turn it on right now. You can see that I have a camera right in my gauge cluster. Now, top-end models of Kia and Hyundai all come with this, so it's nice that Genesis kind of comes with this standard, because the Prestige is kind of the only Genesis GV70 that you can actually get. It's the only trim that's available in the electric version, but no bother, it is really, really good. So like I said, visibility is really good. Blind spot detection is really, really good. It's a really safe and sound vehicle. I really feel good in it. Now let's talk about the one drawback, and probably the biggest drawback for the Genesis GV70, is that on a full charge, you just don't get that much. I just don't feel like it's enough to really compete. I think like the Kia EV9 was up over 500 kilometers. This is just under 400 kilometers on a full charge. You can get just above, like 3 kilometers above if you go into eco mode, but still, I just feel like, you know, last year I complained about the range, and then, you know, they had maybe an opportunity to put a bigger battery, more efficient, you know, fuel cell, whatever it is that they need to do to get us more kilometers, and they didn't do it. They just shipped it with the same battery, boom, and probably are charging more. I didn't look at the price from last year to this year, but most likely that is the case, that they are charging more money. So that sucks. I wish there was a longer range, because to keep up with this competition, like this, I feel like in some ways this is meant to deal with, you know, Tesla, the all-wheel drive Tesla that's fast like this, you know, very comfortable, pretty luxurious like this, but it just can't, because it doesn't compete with it in the kilometers. And I feel like that's where the most important things is, which is, you know, giving people a good amount of kilometers to use and just under 400 used to be good, but unfortunately now it's just not enough. But that really is the worst part about it. I mean, that is it, and everything else is really solid. I think it's got a pretty competitive price point. I don't think it's that bad. It's a Genesis. It is luxury. Everything, high quality materials are in here. So I don't have that big of an issue with the price point. I don't think a lot of people do either. Like, I just don't think a lot of people also know that this vehicle exists, because you don't see too many of them out on the road. And maybe people are just don't have the budget for it. That's also very possible. But yeah, overall, besides like, you know, price and obviously kilometers, it's a solid electric SUV. Actually, probably one of my favorites. I forget about it every time I drive it. Every time I spend some time away, I forget that it exists, and then I drive and I'm like, man, this thing is really, really good. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there for the Genesis GV70. Hopefully, if you're in the market, hopefully I've helped you. Hopefully I've given you some piece of information to go off of, and you're well informed, because that is the only goal with these videos. Make sure you like and subscribe so I get more opportunities to get crazier and crazier vehicles for you guys to show you in the POV version and stuff like that. So let me know what you want to see on the channel. Let me know what kind of cars you're looking for, and I'll try to get my hands on them for you. And with that being said, I will see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.